what could be back there. And we're afraid that there's nothing there, and nothing in a bad sense of someone who's uninteresting, who has nothing to say, who takes the silence and the peace as being a lack of wisdom or a lack of power, because this world judges us on what we can articulate and how fast we can come up with the answers and all of that. And so we have to maintain that standard. And so we have been taught to keep the mind always going as fast as possible, to try to have the answer and to outthink the other guy and outwit their strategies and maintain ourselves in equilibrium in the contest of wills that the world has become. But underneath that, of course, is always that sense of wondering, who really am I? And by not knowing, of course, a sense of anxiety. So when we meditate, we want to blast through all of that. We want to leave the mask and that whole plane of false consciousness behind and sit in the truth of our being. And the truth of our being is indescribable. It is not knowable or articulable in words. It can only be known in the silence. We can only know it by being it. And it's not even an it. It's not a thing. There's a formlessness. But when we sit in silence and we don't focus our minds anywhere, not try to figure anything out, not try to even answer the question, who am I? But simply be, then what happens through the focus and the concentration, the investigation, you could say, without words, but the observation of the actual quality of our being when we are not trying to be anything, then what comes up is actually miraculous. If you'll allow it to come up and not allow judgments of voices saying, oh, there's nothing there, oh, forget it, this will never work, this will take years, you're not cut out to meditate, that's for saints and sages, all those kinds of things. If you don't believe in those, because they're part of the mask, they're part of the ego structure that wants to hold you in the straitjacket, the conditioning. But if you go behind the conditioning and refuse to listen to those voices that want to tell you you're too small and insignificant to have union with God. What are you talking about? Who are you kidding? You don't deserve it. All of those things, they will show up. Let them go. Get thee behind me, Satan. But don't get into an argument with Satan. Just let it go on, and it will become bored with its own voice if you don't buy into it. Until you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the silence, you will find the miraculous fact that you are filled with divine love. That you are that. That's the actual substance of your being. And that there's an inner radiance, a radiance that you may not see with the physical eyes, but a radiance of mind, a radiance of being that emerges in this space of the emptiness. And if you will allow the radiance to emerge without keeping the light under a bushel, without saying, oh no, that couldn't be, this is a trick of my mind, or whatever else the ego might say to divert you from it. If you will allow it to emerge like a well, it will spring up, and the power of God within you will fill you with joy, with bliss, with an overwhelming love of all that is, and a sense of the unity with all that is, which is the truth of your being. It won't come in words. The more silent you are, the more the power of your being and the divine essence of your being will emerge in the field of consciousness in which ego has been eliminated. Okay, so all we are doing is eliminating the obstructions of the ego mind so that the purity of our true being is able to be perceived again. That's all. You're not creating it, you're not suggesting it into yourself. It's not a trick of the mind. That's why we want to keep the mind silent. Just observe it. And it is the natural supernaturalness of our being that emerges effortlessly. Okay? The main thing is just keep focusing on the energies that are present in the silence. That's all. Without demanding anything of it. Okay? Without asking for anything special. Just let yourself be. You'll start out being aware of the body, but pretty soon the body and the external world will disappear as you focus deeper and deeper in the silence. The next thing will be realizing yourself as consciousness and mind, but that will also drop away, and you'll go to a deeper level that can only be called spirit or essence. And as you get to these deeper and deeper levels of silence, the power will be more and more palpable of this divine energy that can only be referred to as love. And if you'll sit in it long enough, it will dissolve those negative voices once and for all.